Welcome back to Musings and Mysteries, where we unravel the enigmatic threads of history, mythology, and the unknown. Today we're diving into one of the greatest enigmas of all time, the lost city of Atlantis. A fabled civilization swallowed by the sea, Atlantis has captivated explorers, scholars, and dreamers for over 2,000 years. Was it a real place, a thriving metropolis of advanced technology and culture? Or is it merely a myth, a cautionary tale spun by an ancient philosopher? By the end of this journey you'll have a clearer picture of Atlantis, and maybe a few questions that keep you up at night. So grab a seat and let's plunge into the depths of this timeless mystery. Every great mystery starts with a story, and for Atlantis that story begins with one man, Plato, the ancient Greek philosopher. Around 360 BCE, Plato penned two dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, that introduced Atlantis to the world. These texts aren't just philosophical treatises, they're the foundation of a legend that's endured for millennia. But what exactly did Plato say, and why does it still grip our imagination? Plato describes Atlantis as a powerful, advanced civilization that existed 9,000 years before his time, roughly 9,600 BCE. According to his dialogues, Atlantis was an island larger than Libya and Asia combined, located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which we now associate with the Strait of Gibraltar. This wasn't just any island. Atlantis was a utopia of sorts, with concentric rings of land and water, magnificent temples, and a bustling port. Its people were wealthy, sophisticated, and technologically advanced, with a navy that dominated the seas. But here's where the story takes a turn. Plato tells us that Atlantis wasn't just a paradise, it was a cautionary tale. The Atlanteans, he says, grew greedy and corrupt, defying the gods. Their hubris led to divine punishment. In a single day and night, catastrophic floods and earthquakes sank the island into the sea, leaving no trace. It's a gripping narrative, but here's the question. Was Plato describing a real place, or was he crafting an allegory to teach a moral lesson? Plato's dialogues are our only ancient source for Atlantis. No other Greek writer mentions it, which raises eyebrows. Some scholars argue Plato invented Atlantis to illustrate his ideas about ideal societies and the dangers of moral decay. In Timaeus, the story is told by Critias, who claims he heard it from his grandfather, who heard it from Solon, who heard it from Egyptian priests in Sais. That's a long game of telephone, and it makes historians skeptical. Could a story passed through so many hands be factually accurate? Yet the specificity of Plato's description, dates, locations, and architectural details, feels oddly precise for a mere fable. He describes Atlantis' capital with concentric rings of water and land, a central temple to Poseidon, and a canal system that screams engineering genius. Could Plato have based his tale on a real place, perhaps a distant memory of a lost civilization? To answer that, we need to look beyond the text and into the world of ancient Greece. To understand Atlantis, we need to step into Plato's sandals. 4th century BCE Greece was a world of city-states, philosophers, and seafarers. The Greeks were no strangers to tales of lost lands or catastrophic floods. Think of the myths of Deucalion and Pyrrha, their version of Noah's Ark. Flood stories were common across cultures, from Mesopotamia's Epic of Gilgamesh to Egyptian tales of chaos. Plato, a student of Socrates, was steeped in these traditions, but he was also a master storyteller who wove philosophy with narrative. Plato's Atlantis appears in two dialogues, both set during philosophical discussions. In Timaeus, the story is a brief aside, setting the stage for a cosmic discussion. In Critias, it's fleshed out with vivid details about Atlantis' geography, culture, and downfall. Critias claims the story came from Egyptian priests who preserved records of ancient events. Egypt, with its ancient temples and long history, was a source of fascination for Greeks like Solon, who visited around 600 BCE. Could Egyptian records hold clues to a real Atlantis? The mention of Egypt is intriguing because it suggests Plato might have drawn on real historical or cultural memories. The Egyptians were known for their meticulous record-keeping, and their civilization predated Greece by millennia. If a great flood or lost city existed, their archives might have preserved it. But here's the catch. No Egyptian texts mention Atlantis. Scholars have searched papyri and inscriptions, but the trail goes cold. So, was Plato embellishing? Or did he tap into a forgotten oral tradition? Another clue lies in the timing. Plato's 9600 BCE date for Atlantis places it in the Neolithic period, long before advanced civilizations like Egypt or Sumer emerged. This raises questions. Could a society as advanced as Atlantis have existed so early? Most archaeologists say no. 9600 BCE was the era of hunter-gatherers and early farmers, not navies and temples. But Plato's description of the Pillars of Hercules suggests a location in or beyond the Mediterranean, opening the door to real-world candidates. Let's explore the historical context further to see if we can find a match. If Atlantis was real, what events or places might have inspired Plato's tale? The ancient Mediterranean was a hotbed of trade, conquest, and natural disasters, any of which could have shaped the Atlantis legend. Let's consider a few possibilities. First, let's talk about floods. The end of the last ice age, around 10,000 BCE, caused massive sea level rises. The Mediterranean itself was shaped by flooding events like the filling of the Black Sea around 5600 BCE, which some link to flood myths. Could Atlantis be a distant memory of a coastal city lost to rising waters? It's possible, but the timeline doesn't quite fit. Plato's 9600 BCE is too early for most known urban societies. A stronger candidate is the Minoan civilization on Crete, which thrived around 2700–1450 BCE. The Minoans were a seafaring people with advanced architecture, art, and trade networks. Their palace at Knossos, with its intricate design, could inspire tales of concentric cities. Around 1600 BCE, the volcanic island of Thera, modern Santorini, erupted cataclysmically, triggering tsunamis that devastated Minoan settlements. This event, one of the largest eruptions in history, could match Plato's day and night destruction. The timing is off. 1600 BCE is much later than 9600 BCE, but Plato might have exaggerated the date or relied on garbled accounts. Another possibility is the city of Helice, a Greek port swallowed by an earthquake and tsunami in 373 BCE, just before Plato wrote his dialogues. Helice's sudden disappearance, witnessed by Greeks, could have inspired Plato to craft a larger-than-life version of a sunken city. The problem? Helice was too small and too recent to match Atlantis's grandeur. Then there's the broader Mediterranean world. The Phoenicians, Tartessians, and other seafaring cultures had bustling ports that could have inspired Atlantis's naval prowess. The Pillars of Hercules, likely the Strait of Gibraltar, point to a location in the Atlantic or Western Mediterranean. Some speculate Atlantis was in Spain, where the ancient city of Tartessos vanished around 600 BCE, or even further afield, like the Bahamas or Antarctica. These theories stretch plausibility, but they show how Atlantis's vague location fuels endless speculation. The historical context suggests Plato might have blended real events like Minoan or Helice disasters with mythological flourishes. But to test this, we need to look at what archaeology tells us. Could there be physical evidence of Atlantis waiting to be found? For centuries, explorers have scoured the globe for Atlantis from the Mediterranean to the Caribbean. Modern archaeology offers clues, but no definitive proof. Let's dive into the most compelling theories and what science says about them. The Minoan-Santorini theory is the front-runner. The Thera eruption around 1600 BCE was a game-changer. Excavations on Santorini reveal a sophisticated city, Akrotiri, buried under ash, with frescoes of ships and circular harbors reminiscent of Plato's Atlantis. Tsunamis from the eruption likely wrecked Crete's coastal settlements, mirroring Atlantis's fate. Marine archaeologist Eberhard Zanger argues the Minoans' collapse could be the kernel of truth behind Plato's tale. The catch? The timeline, 1600 BCE versus 9600 BCE, and scale, Crete isn't larger than Libya and Asia, don't fully align. Another contender is the island of Sardinia. Some researchers like Sergio Frau propose that Sardinia's Nuragic civilization, with its stone towers and maritime culture, could be Atlantis. The island's western location near the Pillars of Hercules and evidence of flooding around 1200 BCE make it intriguing. But the Nuragic culture lacks the grandeur Plato described, and the evidence is circumstantial. Further afield, some point to the Bahamas where underwater formations like the Bimini Road, stone blocks resembling a road, sparked Atlantis theories in the 1960s. Geologists argue these are natural limestone formations not man-made, but enthusiasts like Edgar Cayce claimed psychic visions of Atlantis in the Caribbean. While popular in pop culture, these claims lack archaeological support. In the Mediterranean, researchers have explored the submerged city of Pavlopetri off Greece, dating to 3000 BCE, and the sunken ruins of Yonaguni near Japan, which some call an ancient megalith. Both are fascinating, but neither matches Plato's description of a vast, advanced island. Satellite imagery and sonar have fueled modern searches like those off Spain's Donana National Park, where possible man-made structures were found. Yet no site has been conclusively linked to Atlantis. The problem is Plato's timeline. His 9600 BCE date aligns with no known advanced civilization. Some argue he meant 900 years, not 9,000, which would place Atlantis around 1600 BCE, conveniently near the Thera eruption. Others suggest Plato exaggerated for dramatic effect, blending myth with fragments of real disasters. Until a definitive site is found, archaeology keeps Atlantis in the realm of speculation. Even if Atlantis remains elusive, its grip on our imagination is undeniable. From books to movies to video games, Atlantis has become a cultural juggernaut. Let's explore how this ancient myth shapes modern storytelling. Disney's 2001 animated film, Atlantis: The Lost Empire, reimagined Atlantis as a steampunk utopia with glowing crystals and a lost princess. While not historically accurate, it introduced Atlantis to a new generation, blending adventure with mystical vibes. The film's visuals, circular cities and advanced tech, echo Plato's descriptions, showing how his words still inspire. In superhero films like Aquaman, Atlantis is a dazzling underwater kingdom, ruled by a trident-wielding hero. These depictions lean into the idea of Atlantis as a surviving hidden civilization, a trope that's fueled countless novels, like Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, where Captain Nemo explores Atlantean ruins. Science fiction often portrays Atlantis as an alien or advanced tech society, reflecting our fascination with lost knowledge. Video games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey let players explore a virtual Atlantis, complete with mythical creatures and futuristic tech. These games tap into the mystery's allure, offering interactive quests to uncover Atlantean secrets. Even TV shows like Stargate Atlantis reimagine it as an alien city in another galaxy, blending Plato's tale with sci-fi. Beyond entertainment, Atlantis fuels pseudoscientific theories. Writers like Ignatius Donnelly in his 1882 book Atlantis: The Antediluvian World argued Atlantis was the cradle of civilization, influencing Egypt and Mesoamerica. While debunked by scholars, these ideas persist in New Age and conspiracy circles, with YouTube channels exploring Atlantis as an alien base or a time travel hub. This mix of fact and fiction keeps the legend alive. On platforms like X, Atlantis trends whenever new underwater discoveries hit the news. Posts speculate about lost cities or share clips of supposed Atlantean ruins. This digital buzz shows how Atlantis bridges ancient myth and modern curiosity, making it a perfect fit for channels like ours. So what is Atlantis? A real city lost to time, a philosophical allegory, or a myth that's grown larger than life? After exploring Plato's dialogues, historical context, archaeological theories, and pop culture, one thing is clear. Atlantis is more than a place. It's an idea. It's a symbol of human ambition, the fragility of greatness, and our endless quest for the unknown. Plato's story, whether fact or fiction, challenges us to question what's possible. The Minoan-Santorini theory offers a plausible kernel of truth, but the lack of concrete evidence keeps Atlantis in the realm of mystery. Maybe it's buried beneath the Mediterranean, or maybe it's a metaphor for our own aspirations and fears. Either way, Atlantis reminds us that some questions are more powerful than their answers. What do you think? Is Atlantis out there waiting to be found, or is it a story that lives in our collective imagination? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's keep the conversation going. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button, subscribe to Musings and Mysteries, and ring the bell for more tales of history and the unknown. Until next time, keep exploring the mysteries that shape our world.